I'm 62, and yeah, I dabble a little bit, but the one thing you need in racing is money.
Yeah.
You really have to have money. I mean, some of
Right.
the kids that I mean in their early 20s and whatnot, or even younger. We have one racer who's 15. I mean, they've got their reactions, their perceptions are just focus. And you get to a certain age, like we do have a racer who's 70, and he doesn't really actually go out to try to win. He just enjoys racing. But the point is, the kids all have like 2 or 3 bikes.
Yeah.
So one goes out.
Right.
But one young woman this year, she's 22, and her bike was malfunctioning at the start of the year. She only had one. Everybody in the pits took up a collection and paid for the repairs.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's a very
it's
supportive community.
Yeah, it's a family.
It's amazing.
And one of the ambitions is some of the guys have and women have gone and did corner work and volunteered at like the Daytona 24 hours, Sebring 12 hours, Le Mans 24 hours, and a couple have even done Formula One.
Wow.
So you can work your way up, and it's a nice way to have a vacation.
Yeah, and it's exciting. I mean, I knew there's a guy that I know that travels the NASCAR circuit.
Oh wow, okay.
And he's a very wealthy man, and he has a big motorhome, and you know, in the middle of the NASCAR circuit, they let people park their motorhomes in the center of the track, and you can actually sit on top of your motorhome and watch. I mean, there's a huge contingency of people that follow the NASCAR circuit, and they travel to race to race to race.
Yeah.
And they live in their motorhomes while they're doing it.
Yeah, I know people that do that with sports cars and Formula cars and Indy cars.
Well, I want to talk about the different surfaces you like to work on.
Oh, sure.
I mean, those are pretty interesting, actually.
Let's see. I'll just start with these are stone, marble, granite, and soapstone that are found. I find at a local marble design stone installations, what they do, and these are leftovers.
Yeah, these are scraps that they discard after they're putting together countertops or floor.
You're looking at $150 a square foot.
That sucker is heavy too, let me tell you. And he's picking it up like it's light, but it's not at all.
And these go, some of these are like 2 feet by 3 feet.
This thing's at least 10 pounds. This is called Horseman.
I like my first title.
What was your first title?
The Albigensian Crusade.
The Albigensian Crusade.
Which
I have no idea what that is.
That's when the Pope decided that he didn't like this new religion in about the 13th century. They were preaching poverty, humility, living communally, all the stuff that's in that book. And the Pope sent a crusade.
Okay.
And the crusade was very popular with very nobility in France because it meant they could seize all this juicy land
and kill a lot of people with impunity.
Well, that's where the saying came from: "Kill them all, let God sort them out."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had surrounded a castle, and the knights turned to the bishop, who was actually leading them. He said, "How do we tell the Christians?" He said, "Kill them all."
Yeah. The interesting thing about this stone is if you look at the back, it's really rough. And the surface, I mean, you could paint on this, but it would be a completely different animal than the smooth, polished surface on this side. The paint acts really interesting on surfaces that it can't soak into. Like a paper surface like this, the paint soaks into. And I think that when you see the paint soak in and it dries very quickly, probably within 30 seconds or so if you've just put it on a fresh piece of paper, and you can see exactly what that paint's going to do immediately, but with something like this, when he also works with this paper,
Yupo.
It's called Yupo, Y-U-P-O.
And it's actually made out of, I think I can pronounce this, polypropylene.
Yeah, and this is one of the pieces. Let's see, let's do it this way because I think you can see. This is one of the pieces, and it's kind of a plastic page, and the paint just sits on the surface, and you have to let it dry to really feel the color and the motion of the paint. When you put it on it fresh, you can't see what it's going to be until it dries, really. So it's really interesting. So he works with a bunch of, and these are all found objects. These are stuff that he gets as he's walking around the city, literally. I mean, this is bought, obviously. You bought a package of the Yupo to explore with it, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if this was one of the first,
This vinyl came from City Liquidators.
Yeah, this is actually the back sign of a vinyl sign. And it's really interesting to me because each one of these surfaces provides a separate place to explore the medium that he's working with, and they all act very differently. You know, I mean, when you've got a piece that weighs 10 pounds as opposed to a piece that weighs a few ounces, and the surfaces are both kind of the same. I mean, it's just, the man is really exploring a lot of different things here.
Way in the back, and on top of the bookcase, you can kind of see some of the bigger wood pieces, like that one is sticking up. There's some that I have some that are like 9 feet tall, stuck in the closet. They were one of my first projects, and they're sort of okay, but I haven't decided.
Yeah.
You know, and plus, where do you show them? These were actually put up. All that stuff on the top. It was hung in a brew pub, and they wanted really big.
Okay.
Which is okay, it's just hanging them. These are like sort of vinyl, but it's plastic with the little holes in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of honeycombed.
Yeah.
And pulling them down with since like climbing over. You know?
No, it's fantastic. It's just the amount of immersion in this room of this guy and his art is just it's mind-boggling to me.
Do you sit at your desk here
How I paint
when you're painting?
No, actually I paint on the floor. Oddly, I just keep forgetting to buy an easel, and don't forget this is what I paint with.
Really?
Yeah, it's just brushes that didn't really do it, so I just kind of move things around, and it is a sling blade.
So it's a very serious knife. Yeah, it's a folding knife that's been permanently opened by the paint.
Yeah, this knife came from Chicago. It was, shall we say, an accompaniment on the L trains.
Yeah.
And I am not a violent person, but Chicago was very interesting.
I used to carry a knife in LA, certain parts of LA as well, because you just never know.
I heard that the easiest way to get stabbed is by pulling a knife on somebody.
Not if I pull a knife on you.
Actually,
depends on who you're pulling that knife on. I guarantee that.
If that knife comes out, it's stuck in something. That's all there is to that. You know?
Yes, I have a friend at the track who's a Wiccan, a redneck Wiccan.